All rise. Henry County Superior Court is now in session. The Honorable Brian J. Romero presiding.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Please be seated. Welcome. And let's see. Do we have the same camera person that we had yesterday? Different camera person?
Yes.
Okay. You understand that we can't have any shots of the jury?
Yes, sir.
Understand that there are no shots of any child witnesses?
Yes, sir.
And thank you. Pardon me?
Is there any images of the children?
Also, no images of the children
Yes, sir.
who are child witnesses. Okay. Let's see. And we have all of our jurors. Is the state ready?
Yes, sir.
Defense ready? All right. Then let's bring out the jury. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. And we are ready to proceed. And so the defense will call this next witness.
Brandy Willis, his name?
Brandy Willis?
Brandy Willis.
Brandy Willis. And if you'll be sure to have them say their name and spell their name. Miss Willis?
Yeah.
Right up here, please. You'll just raise your right hand and turn toward this ball.
I'm sorry. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
You need to have a seat. State your name and spell it for us.
Brandy Willis, Brandy Willis.
Ms. Willis, tell me, do you have any recollection of Millie Place?
Yes.
And tell us what your role was in Millie Place's care.
I was her foster care case manager.
And what did that entail doing?
That entailed monthly visits in her foster home, completing supervised visits between her and her mother, and transporting her.
Okay. And what period of time were you her case manager?
December 2015 until February 2016.
And during this period of time, where was she living?
She was placed in the foster home of the Lamberts.
And did you have, were there any problems with Millie with regards to talking about things that were, that her grandmother told her to say, or her great-grandmother told her to say?
No, ma'am, not in my presence.
Not in your presence. But it is fair that you yourself talked to Miss Tessa Clendenning about not talking to Millie about the Rosenbaums, correct?
It is possible, yes.
And tell us why that was.
At that time, we just did not want the case to be discussed with the child.
And were you having problems with the child discussing the case with her family?
I don't recall.
I'm going to show you the document and see if that helps refresh your recollection.
Okay.
Does that help refresh your recollection?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You tell me that you have to talk to Tessa Clegane about limiting her conversations about the case with Millie?
Yes, that's what I stated there, yes.
And is that because the psychologist wanted you to stop to tell Miss Tessa Clegane not to talk to their child about the case?
Yes, according to my notes, yes.
Did there come a time when Tessa complained of a black eye on Millie?
Yes.
And did Miss Lambert tell you that she thought Millie might have fallen when she stacked chairs on the bed to try and reach the fan?
Yes.
And Miss Lambert told you Millie was very difficult to handle and wouldn't listen.
Yes.
Correct? And that would be especially so after she had been with her mother, correct?
Yes.
And Miss Lambert told you that Millie would...
Response?
The response is it's Miss Lambert, and it's impeaching what Miss Lambert said. Miss Lambert denied certain things, and I'm impeaching her.
Well, I'm going to need to know more. Approach.
Isn't it true that you had problems with Millie picking at herself, picking her nose, picking her toes until they bleed? Did Millie pick her nose and skin until it bleeds?
Yes.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Good morning, Ms. Willis.
Good morning.
Mary Andrews, I just have a few questions for you.
Okay.
You had indicated that, in your opinion, Ms. Lambert was one of the best foster parents you've ever had. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, ma'am. You can step down. Any objection to this witness being excused?
No objection.
All right. And you're excused. The defense will call its next witness.
Sandra Rawlings, please.
Right up here, ma'am. Through that gate, around toward the jury, into this witness box. Yes, ma'am. Watch your step. Raise your right hand. Toward this wall.
Would you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Would you take a seat and please tell us your name and spell?
Okay. My name is Sandra Gravely, spelled Gravely.
And Sandra?
Yes. Sandra, Sandra.
Thank you. Ms. Gravely, where are you currently employed?
I am employed with a friend's house.
And what is that?
It's a group home for children in crisis.
Ms. Gravely, prior to a friend's house, where did you work?
I worked for the Griffin-Spalding County school system.
And prior to that?
I moved to Georgia and I worked for a corporation called Toltex Corporation.
At a friend's house, are you dealing with children, with foster children or for children that have been taken out of homes?
Yes.
And do you know Jennifer Rosenbaum?
I do.
And how do you know her?
I met Jennifer at the group home, actually, when she first came into foster care.
About how old was she?
She was around 12 years old. I believe it was 2001.
So you've known her for quite some time?
Yes.
And what was your relationship like in the later years? How often would you see Jennifer?
On and off. There was a period from 2001 when she came into care, and then on and off I would see her, and then she returned back to our group home at the age of 17. And from the age of 17 throughout her life, I've had contact with Jennifer because of milestones that she's experienced. High school graduation, college graduation, joining the military, and her wedding. So up until the age of 30.
Okay. Did you ever have an opportunity to meet Millie and Layla?
And at one point when she obtained them in her care, I had the opportunity to meet them, yes.
Can you tell us what was that experience? Can you describe that experience for us?
She called me to let me know that she always called me like an aunt. She treated me like an aunt, and she would always say different things about what was going on. So when she received the girls, she was so excited, and she said, I just want to let you know, you're an aunt now. And I said, oh, wow. And she told me about the two sisters that she was now caring for. And then I got to meet them July of, I think it was 2015, and they had just come off the boat from a trip. And she brought them actually to my office, and we spent a little time together and played together.
And tell us were there any boundaries? Were the children allowed to play and do what they wanted?
Yes, actually we had gifts for the children that she was there to pick up, and they just sat there and opened them up and freely played with them and moved around, and just they seemed happy.
How long were they there?
We spent probably in excess an hour or more together.
Did you notice anything particular about their behavior?
Nothing out of the ordinary or in particular.
Okay. How did the girls play? Were these dainty girls, or was it? How were the girls?
I would say the oldest sister was more laid back, relaxed. She would focus just on one toy or one item. We had a large variety of items to choose from, and so she picked one and she just sat there and played with it. The youngest sister, she was rambunctious. She moved about a lot. I was really worried in the office because it is an office setting, and there were corners on the desk and things, so I chose to sit on the floor with the two girls and Jennifer to play.
Why were you concerned about the corners of the furniture?
Well, because, with small children, and especially if they move around a lot and, they seem a little hyper or just, like I said, rambunctious, that was my concern. I didn't want her to bump herself or hurt herself. So, and working with children, that was always my concern.
How did the girls act towards Jennifer?
As we sat and had just general conversation and talked about what she'd been doing, the vacations and things like that, they just played and ignored, what we talked about. And occasionally, we'd look over to say something and they would respond back, but nothing in particular that I have concerns for.
Did you see anything wrong with the girls, with their face, with their body?
Layla had a bump over, I don't remember which eye it was, but I just remember that it was like I call it a goose egg, a knot. And so I was like, ooh, I said, you have, I said, ooh, you have a goose egg. And her sister Millie responded, sissy fail, so I just took it as it's a childhood, injury. Did
you notice any raccooning eyes, any dark circles around the eyes?
Not at that time that I remember.
Any bruises, cuts, or lacerations?
It was in the summertime, so they had on like little dresses, little, onesie outfits, and I didn't see anything with the exception of, like I said, the goose egg.
And what did you think about the goose egg?
I didn't really think too much into it. I just, working with children who have been in abusive situations, I just took it that, it was a normal knot for a child of that age.
Is that something you had seen before?
In my line of work, yes, many times.
And bumping heads, is that something? Tell me about how frequently you've seen children bump their heads.
Considering, their mobility and their age, wow, I see it. It's common with children who, especially when they're as rambunctious and move around a lot. And like I said, there were a lot of things in the room, and if they see it, they focus on it. That's what she does. And she was tripping, you trip over stuff.
She was tripping over stuff?
So like I said, naturally, that's why I was like, we'll sit on the floor, because I didn't feel comfortable sitting up in an office chair and looking down at her.
Thank you, Ms. Green.
You're welcome.
Ms. Andrews, Cross.
Good morning, Ms. Gravely, is that correct?
Gravely, yes, ma'am.
My name is Miriam Andrews, and I have a few questions for you.
Yes.
You indicated that you worked at a friend's house?
Yes, I work at a friend's
And you
house.
currently work there?
Yes.
And that is a group home for children in crisis?
Yes.
And so at a group home for children in crisis, you have children that come in with violent behavior, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you have children that come in that would throw temper tantrums?
That's correct.
And you have children that come in that are uncooperative and disrespectful?
That is correct.
And you have children that come in that for whom consequences don't scare them?
That's correct. Yes.
And you have children that come into a friend's house who have fits of rage and no remorse?
That would be correct.
And you have children that come into a friend's house who refuse to accept responsibility for their actions, is that correct?
That would be correct.
You indicated that because of your work in friend's house, you've seen children in abusive situations, is that correct?
Yes, we receive children that are being rescued from those situations.
So let me ask you this. On July 2015, that was the only time that you saw Millie and Layla?
That was the only time that I saw them physically, yes.
And working in the friend's house, you're aware that children can have conflicted feelings towards their abusers, correct?
Yes.
And you're aware that just because someone gives children nice clothes and toys doesn't mean they're not abusing them, correct?
Exactly, yes.
And if an individual takes children to community events and gives them lavish birthday parties, doesn't mean they're not abusing them.
Yes.
And you would agree with me that abusers, there's no one look to abuser, across race, socioeconomic, anything. Anyone can be an abuser. They don't have a specific look.
Exactly.
Can be males, females, black and white.
Exactly. I'm aware of that.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as, since the screen's not up, State
Okay.
Exhibit 1. And may I approach the witness, sir? And if you saw a child with these injuries in State's Exhibit 1, would you have concerns for child physical abuse?
I would.
actually what's been marked as State's Exhibit 80 that's been introduced. If you saw a child with these injuries, would you have concerns for child physical abuse?
I would definitely take them to the doctor to have that assessed.
And you're a mandatory reporter?
I am a mandatory reporter.
And if you saw the injuries in State's Exhibit 80, would you make a report?
I would, yes. In my line of work, I would have to.
If you saw the injuries to the back of a child as shown in State's Exhibit 1, would you make a report?
I would, yes, I would be mandated to do that.
And are you aware that this case does not involve any dates or anything that occurred in July of 2015?
Repeat your question.
The case that we're in court for today, we're not here for anything that happened in July of 2015. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Are you aware that we're not here for anything that happened in August of 2015?
Yes.
You're aware that we're not here for anything that happened in September of 2015?
Yes.
And so you have no information to provide us as to what happened in October of 2015, do you?
No.
And you don't have any information to provide us as to what happened in November of 2015, do you?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews. Ms. Ball, anything else?
Ms. Andrews asked you about the type of children that come to a friend's house, and you mentioned some of the kinds of children that come to a friend's house, but you also have children who are respectful that come to a friend's house, correct?
Yes.
And you have children who don't exhibit violent behavior who come to the friend's house.
Yes.
And you have people that don't have temper tantrums and come to a friend's house.
Yes.
And you have folks that are cooperative and come to a friend's house, correct?
Yes. Yes, we do.
And this time that you saw these girls, was it in July or in August?
July was when I received the pictures, and then they came to visit shortly after that.
And what month would that have been?
Somewhere between July and August. They were coming off of a road trip, like I said, and we had gathered and collected with the Rosenbaums becoming new parents. It was sort of our gift, and because Jennifer had been a resident with us, we often will provide first-time parent gifts and things like that to our residents that we still may have contact with, and so that was our gift to them.
Were they coming back from Hilton Head, South Carolina?
Yes, ma'am, they sure were.
So you would have seen them after they came back from Hilton Head?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Andrews asked you about these pictures that she showed you. Would you want to know more than just looking at the picture?
I would.
Would you want to follow up and find out what the context is?
I would, definitely, yes.
Would you like to find out if these children died through this child died through some other means?
Definitely, yes.
Would you look into whether there had been an accident or not?
Yes.
Thank you.
Were you aware that according to the in-court testimony, these injuries happened in the days and hours prior to Layla's death?
No.
That question and that line of questioning, if I may, Coach.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please step into the third open room. Thank you. I'm going to ask the witness also to step down.
Okay.
Ms. Ball.
I'm objecting to the questions, to the line of questioning, the questions that Ms. Andrews, to the effect of, are you aware that testimony, or the evidence in this case is that such and such, stating what the evidence, what state's evidence is, not stating that there's, the trial's not over, but it's misleading to suggest that's the only testimony that hasn't been cross-examined and that other matters haven't been brought up, which they have. So to state the defense's position and state it as fact when it's been subject to cross-examination and it's been whittled away at, not to mention the fact that we haven't heard from our side yet. We're just in the process of giving our side. So I think that's an improper line of questioning.
Ms. Andrews, response?
Yes, Your Honor. This has been the testimony so far from our witnesses. I don't know what their witnesses are going to say, but I'm accurately asking her, are you aware that this has been the testimony? That is the testimony so far. I don't believe that's inaccurate. They can always cross-examine them and say, you don't know what other people will say. But that's been the testimony so far.
Well, I'm concerned about all of these types of questions. They seem to be guilt-assuming in some circumstances, and in other circumstances, they're asking a juror to comment on only parts of what we're seeing here in the courtroom. And in a way, it's asking them to make a judgment about a case based upon only a limited piece of what is being seen. And with witnesses such as this, I don't know that it makes sense to be putting them in the position of being essentially a juror who is having to comment on what your version of the evidence is. So it seems to me that when we have a fact witness that's brought up, that the inquiry should be about what they know. And not anything else.
And with this witness, the defense did bring up the context of the injuries. So I believe that I should have been allowed to follow up as to the context of injuries.
The context of the injury is the entirety of the case. It's not what we're hearing, not your context and her context. And so that's just best left for the juror who's been here and listening to the entirety of the context that's being created. So I think we need to stay away from these types of questions both on the defense side and the state side. All right?
So striking the answer of the witness because she didn't answer. Sustain the objection and strike the answer.
No, it's already part of the record. You can
ask them to disregard it.
I will do that, yes. Thank you. All right. Let's bring the jury back up. Okay, the jury will disregard the last response made by this witness.
Just a few more questions. Did Jennifer ever tell you that her Millie and Layla were in daycare?
That they were in daycare?
In daycare, yes.
Not that I remember. We didn't have that conversation.
Did Jennifer ever tell you that Millie was in gymnastics?
I haven't had that conversation. I never had it.
Did Jennifer ever tell you that Layla was in gymnastics?
No.
And did Jennifer ever tell you that Layla suffered a broken leg?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, ma'am. You can step down. Any objections? Witness may be excused. All right, and you're excused. Defense will call its next witness.
Defense calls Shelby Rawlings. Shelby Rawlings.
Right up here, please, ma'am. Raise your right hand and record this malt. We will swear you in.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
That's wrong, you can have a seat. And state your name and spell it.
Shelby Rawlings, Shelby Rawlings.
How do you know if you know Jennifer Rosenbaum?
How do I know her?
Yes.
I met her through my husband.
And how did your husband meet her?
They attended basic training together in the military.
And what does your husband do? What is his occupation?
He is a City of Atlanta police motorman, and he is also currently in the reserves deployed right now.
And he's in Afghanistan? Or?
He is actually in the Republic of Georgia near Russia.
And what do you do for a living?
I work at a real estate company.
And have you and your husband ever employed Jennifer to babysit your child?
Yes. I wouldn't say we employed her. We were friends, so I just asked.
You just asked?
Yeah.
So you'd ask her to stay with the kids? And
Yes.
would this be before November of 2015 or since November of 2015?
It goes back 10 years, so it's before and after to now.
Okay. And so how recently has she taken care of your kids?
I'd say last month she took my youngest daughter.
And how old is your youngest daughter?
She's 10.
Has she taken them to gymnastics?
She took my middle daughter to gymnastics regularly.
Have you had an opportunity to see her foster girls?
I never did. Oh, I did it on one occasion. I never met both of them, though.
Okay. And tell me about that occasion.
My middle daughter, she's kind of an accident prone, so we were at one of her orthopedic appointments getting casted, and when we came out from having her casted, I saw Jennifer and one of the little girls, but I didn't.
Do you have an idea of when that was?
Oh my gosh, I honestly, I know it was it was when she broke both of her arms, so it would have been it would be in the winter months. I don't know exactly when.
November of 2015, sound right?
I can't be for sure, but I know it was cold.
Okay. And it was in 2015?
Yes.
And did you see anything about this little girl that concerned you?
No, I didn't really. I tried to get out of there. I didn't look the greatest, so.
Okay. But anything that would alarm you?
No.
Has anyone in your family had broken bones?
Yeah.
Did you seek treatment immediately?
No.
Tell me about the events that you had. when the state's made available by asking you some questions to the witnesses.
Sustain the objection.
Did your children ever have injuries at the gym?
Yes.
Thank you, that's all I have at this time.
Good morning, Ms. Rawlings.
Good morning.
We had a chance to speak briefly a few weeks ago, correct?
Yes.
All right. I want to talk a little bit about, well, first of all, were you at Jennifer's house the day that Layla died?
No, sir.
So you don't have any knowledge about any of the events leading up to Layla's death, correct?
No, sir.
Ms. Mole asked you about whether or not you had ever had Jennifer watch your kids. So I want to ask you a few questions about that, okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you find that when you leave your children in someone's care and custody, that it's important that they are truthful with you?
Yes.
Do you find that do you trust that what they are telling you is going to be completely the truth at all times?
Yes.
If your children were injured in their care, would you expect them to mention that to you?
Yes.
Would you expect them to seek medical treatment if medical treatment was needed immediately?
If it was needed immediately, yes.
So if someone was not telling the truth to you, that would concern you, would it not?
Yes, I would say depending on what it was.
Okay, let's talk specifically about child care.
Okay.
If you expected your child was in daycare, okay, ma'am, if your children were supposed to be going to daycare, would you expect that they were actually going to a daycare that you thought they were going to?
Yes.
Would it concern you, however, if you found out that the children were never actually going to daycare?
Objection again, it's subject to interpretation.
You mentioned gymnastics, correct?
Yes.
Did Miss Rosenbaum ever tell you how Layla was injured?
I don't believe so.
So she never talked to you about how she was injured?
I don't think we ever talked about her injuries.
How close of friends were you?
We were very close, but I just never asked. That was uncomfortable. I knew they were going through a lot, so I didn't.
You didn't ask how Layla broke her leg?
I honestly didn't even know anything about. I didn't ask, so I didn't know.
Did you know she broke her leg?
I don't know the result of any injuries.
Did you
It wasn't my business.
Okay. Did you see her with a cast on?
No, I only saw one kid, and that was at the doctor's office. That's the only time I've ever saw one of the children.
So you've only seen the children once?
Yes.
Or do you remember which child it was?
I just know she was small.
Okay.
I can't tell you which one. I don't know.
So
I never met them.
So it's safe to say then that you never saw them after, if Layla had a cast on, you never saw that?
No.
So let me ask you this, were you aware that the cast came off on November 13th, 2015, 4 days before her death?
I wasn't aware of any. At that time, I wasn't around her. I had a lot going on in my life with my kids and stuff, so at that time I didn't see them. I didn't see anything with the kids, so.
So you didn't ever really see the kids?
I saw one of them on one occasion, but I could not tell you which child it was.
Thank you, ma'am. You can step down. Any objection, please be excused. All right, and you're excused. Defense will call us next witness.
The defense calls, Lyle Sword.
Right here, please. Sir? Just right through that front gate. Yep. And then make your way over this way, in front of the jury box. And then around into this witness stand. Raise your right hand. And Ms. Mull.
Yes, I do.
Would you state your name for the jury and spell it?
My name is Lyle Sword. It's Lylesword.
Mr. Sword, what do you do for a living?
I work for the United States Postal Service.
And how do you know Jennifer Rosenbaum?
They live on my rural route that I deliver mail on.
And did you ever have occasion to see the girls out in the front yard when you were delivering mail?
Yes.
Did you know that they were foster children of Miss Jennifer Rosenbaum and Mr. Rosenbaum?
I did not originally, but yes, I did.
But you did after a period of time?
Yes.
Did you have occasion to see them on November 16th, 2015, the day they were flying kites?
Yes.
And how did the girls appear to you on that day?
Very happy. They were playing in the front yard.
Were they running?
Yes.
Were they jumping and skipping?
Yes, and leaving.
Sustain.
How were they moving?
Just like any other little girls.
Is there anything alarming about them?
No.
Did Layla do anything that gave you some concern? The little girl, the littlest one, do anything that gave you some concern?
No, they look just like two normal little girls playing in the front yard.
Did either of them try to climb your truck?
I believe it was the littlest one, I believe. Yes, it was close to the truck because I was stopped at their mailbox.
And was she trying to climb on the truck?
Action leaving.
She was.
Sustain.
Was she?
I disagree.
Did she climb on the truck?
I believe she touched the truck, but not into the truck, no.
Did she run up to the truck?
Yes.
Did you notice her having any difficulty doing that?
No.
Did you see any bruises or scars?
No, I did not.
Any cuts or lesions?
Not that I noticed, no.
And if you had noticed something, you'd have said something, is that right?
Depends. I mean, the children get bandaged stuff. I mean, not necessarily.
Okay. Let me ask you this. With regards to what you saw about the girls, did anything alarm you?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Sword.
Mr. Sword, I first want to talk with Ms. Knoll asked you about, did you see any bruises or scars? Do you even remember what the girls were wearing that day?
No, I do not.
Is it safe to say that the girls were clothed? They had clothes on, correct?
Yes.
Did you see the back of either girl?
Not that I remember.
Did you see the groin area of either girl?
Not specifically, no.
Is that a yes or no?
No.
Did you see the abdomen of either girl?
No.
Did you see the inner thigh area of either girl?
No.
And how close were you paying attention to whether or not any of these children had any scars or bruises?
Was not my, at that time, no.
It wasn't your focus at that time, correct?
No.
All right. You were doing your job?
Yes.
All right. Now, Ms. Mull asked you about did Layla ever come up to the truck. Tell us what happened.
Basically, I was stopped at the mailbox. Jennifer was the closest one to the box. A lot of times I will talk to my customers when they're there to give them their mail. I had noticed that the two girls were in the front yard playing. The smallest one had run up towards the truck. I was stopped, told them, you can stay away from the truck. And was just talking to Jennifer, just talking about the children. She was very, very happy that day. And she had mentioned, I had asked if they were visiting, I believe, because I didn't know that at the time that Jennifer was fostering. She said that she was at that time. And she was just real happy about the girl. She was talking about maybe someday adopting.
Now, and this is a conversation that's happening pretty quickly, correct?
Yes.
You're not there for a whole long time.
Oh, no, a
right?
couple of minutes.
And but as far as you said that Layla touched the truck, correct?
I believe so, yes, because she was very close to the truck.
Did she ever attempt to climb into the truck?
I don't remember that specifically, but she was very close to the truck.
So you remember her being close to the truck, but you don't remember if she actually climbed into the truck, correct?
I mean, I tried to keep them out of my truck, so
Probably not.
she wasn't up in my lap, no.
Okay, she wasn't in your lap. She wasn't in your seat, right?
No.
She wasn't running around in the back?
No.
And was the truck stopped?
Yes.
At this point? All right. And if she had gotten to the truck, do you think that might be something that might stick out?
I've had several children try to get in the truck before, so
Was she one of them?
I do not remember.
Okay. Nothing further.
Thank you. All right, thank you, sir. You can step down.
Okay.
And you're excused unless there's an objection.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for calling. Next witness.
Thanks, Paul. Avani Patel.
Ani Patel. Through that gate. Around this way. Right here, please. Raise your right hand. And Ms. Moe will swear you in.
Will you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you take a seat, and if you could spell your name, state your name and spell your name correctly.
My name is Oni Patel, spelled Avani Patel.
How do you know Jennifer Rosenbaum?
Jennifer and I interned together at the Henry County District County's office, the Juvenile Division.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm an attorney.
And where are you an attorney?
I'm at King and Spalding.
And did you have occasion to see Jennifer with her foster children?
Yes.
Can you tell me about that?
I believe she brought the girls to work one day, and then there was a time where we went to the movies. It was her and I and the two girls and a coworker's daughter.
And at the time that you saw the girls, did you see any cuts, nicks, abrasions, bruises on them?
No.
Did you happen to see them more than one time or just that one time?
Just those two times, the one time at work and at the movies.
Was there anything alarming about the children?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Patel.
Thank you.
When was it that you were interning with the DA's office?
When was it?
Yes.
The summer of 2015.
When did your internship end?
August. I believe the first week of
So it
August.
would be fair to say after August of 2015, you did not see the defendant nor the girls?
Yes, it'd be fair to say I did not see them.
So you weren't at their house on November the 17th of 2015.
No, ma'am.
In October of 2015, you didn't see the defendants or the girls?
Yes, I did not see them.
So you'd have no information about anything, injuries being on those girls after August, you said,
Yes.
2015? And are you aware that this incident has nothing to do with any injuries pertaining to anything in August of 2015? This case?
This,
Yes.
could you repeat the question?
I'm sorry?
I would object to that line of questioning.
Overruled.
The indictment for which the defendants are sitting in trial for, the dates are not about August of 2015. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Nothing.
Were you aware of the work dynamic for Jennifer when she was in Henry County, when you and she were interning in Henry County?
As far as I know she was running for something, and that's honestly the extent of what I know.
Okay. Were you ever called into, or was she ever called into Jim Wright's office that you know of?
I believe she was called in before, but I wasn't there when it happened. I think she mentioned it, but I don't remember the details of that.
And were you involved in anything involving Jennifer and whether or not she was acting appropriately?
No, I was not.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can step down. And any objection to the witness being excused? All right. Thank you, ma'am. You're excused. Thanks for calling. Next witness.
I'm called Joyce Hinton.
Joyce Hinton.
Joyce Hinton.
Right up here, please, ma'am. Go through that gate and then make your way over this direction and come right up here to the witness. Raise your right hand and Ms. Moe will swear you in.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you would take a seat. Tell us your name and spell it, please.
My name is Joyce Hinton, and that's spelled Hinton.
And Joyce is?
Joyce.
Thank you. Ms. Hinton, how do you know Jennifer Rosenbaum?
We actually met at a commissioner's meeting.
And when would that have been? In what year?
Whew, that would have been probably 4 years ago.
2015 sound right?
That sounds about right, yes.
And did you have a close relationship with Jennifer?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. Do you have grandchildren of your own?
Yes, I do.
Do you, did Jennifer tell you she...
Did Jennifer tell you? Is that the question? And your objection is relevance? I don't know what the question is. What's the question?
Did Jennifer tell you about the foster children?
I met them.
You met them? Where did you meet the foster children, foster girls?
She would bring them to meetings.
Do you remember specifically the year? We're talking about 2015 still.
Correct.
And do you have any idea about what month in 2015 that you saw the girls at a meeting?
Well, it would have been the first Tuesday of every month. That was when the meetings were.
So you saw the girls the first Tuesday of every month?
Yes, ma'am, usually, yes.
And what were the girls like?
Well, the girls were always very nicely dressed, they were nicely, they weren't real active. They, how most kids are running around and stuff like that. And, they weren't like that. They were just real well disciplined, I thought.
And their arms and legs were visible?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Did you notice any bruises or cuts or abrasions?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever have occasion to be eating with the children?
Absolutely.
And how many times has that occurred?
I would probably say 3 or 4 times.
And did you ever see the children eating?
Yes, I did.
Anybody trying to deprive them of food?
No.
Did either of the girls appear to be scared of Jennifer?
No.
How did the girls react towards Jennifer?
Well, they were very clingy to her.
And how did she react towards them?
She was very loving and engaging.
Thank you, Ms. Hinton. That's all I have.
Oops.
Good morning, Ms. Hinton. So you never saw the girls at the home of the Rosenbaums?
No.
Did you ever go to the Rosenbaums' home at all?
No, ma'am. I lived in one side of the county. They lived in the other.
So your interactions with the Rosenbaums and the girls would have been outside the home at the commissioner's meeting?
Yes.
And Ms. Moe asked you about when you would see the girls if they were dressed.
Yes.
And at any point in time during those meetings, did you ever have an opportunity to see the girls' backs at all?
Actually, yes. Not totally, but she had brought them to one meeting with sundresses on. So that pretty much exposed a lot of their arms and yes.
My question was about their back. Did you see like from the neck down to their buttocks?
Well,
Their sundresses?
well, I could see their part of their back.
But not the entire back?
No.
And that would have been in the summer months when they had on summer dresses?
Yes.
Okay. And are those meetings, did you ever see them at the October meeting?
Probably, but like we have meeting every month, so it's kind of hard to remember that.
Do you recall what they would have been wearing at that October meeting?
Well, all I can say is she always had them dressed very cutely and nicely.
Would they be dressed appropriately for the weather?
Oh, of course.
So in October, would you expect, if they would have on sundresses?
No, not in October.
What about the November meeting?
Probably she had them in something appropriate for the weather.
Not sundresses?
No.
So at that time, you wouldn't have been able to see their backs?
No.
Okay. What about their hip area?
No.
Their buttocks?
Of course not.
Or their groin areas?
No.
So you didn't see any of those parts when you would see the girls in October and November?
No.
And I think you indicated that they were eating well.
Yes.
And you talked about their behavior. You wouldn't describe their behavior as being rough and tumble, would you?
No, but I think, in the setting that we were in, they behaved. There was no reason for them to be being that, if you know what I'm saying.
They weren't acting rambunctious?
No.
They sat quietly?
Yes.
And behaved?
Yes.
Was that at the direction of Ms. Rosenbaum?
No, they just normally did that.
She didn't even have to raise her voice at them, did she?
No, not really.
Nothing.
You said you're not sure about the November meeting. Would it help you to look at a document to see if you remember when the November meeting was?
Sure.
See if this refreshes you.
Okay, yes.
When was the November meeting?
It would have been the first Tuesday of November.
And was that November 10th?
Yes.
And on November 10th, did you go eat at Huddle House afterwards?
Yes.
And you say that you've been at various meetings with her. Did you see them at other civic meetings?
Yes.
So your opportunity to see these children spanned a great length of time.
Yes, ma'am.
And at no point did you see any bruises, cuts, lesions, abrasions?
That's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Hinton.
So you saw them on November the 10th?
Yes,
Did Layla have a cast on when you saw them on November the 10th?
not that I recall.
Okay, so you don't recall her having on a pink, bright pink cast at all?
No.
On November the 10th?
Anything else? All right, thank you, ma'am. You can step down, and you are excused unless there's an objection. Any objection, Ms. Young?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Excused. Defense will call search witness.
Next witness, you will call, is Jennifer McDaniel.
Jennifer Daniel.
No, I misspoke, Your Honor. You would call Jeremy Head to the stand?
Jeremy Head.
Yes.
All right, so right through that front gate, and make your way over here. Walk directly in front of the jury up into this witness stand. Raise your right hand.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
If you please have a seat, state your name and spell it for us.
Jeremy Head, Jeremy Head.
And Mr. Head, how do you know Jennifer Rosenbaum?
Met Jennifer when she came into a friend's house back in the early 2000s.
And you've known her ever since?
Yes, ma'am.
How well have you known her?
I know her pretty well.
Did you keep up with her over the years?
I kept up with her through Sandra Gravely, because I didn't see her that much because I work for the government.
Okay. And when would you see her?
On and off. I think it had been a while since I had saw her. She came to get her license, and I saw her when I was working for Driver Services.
And who do you work for now?
I work for Henry County Emergency Management Agency.
Did there come a time where you were made aware that she lost her foster daughter?
No, ma'am. I found that out. I was looking on my cell phone, and I saw it, but she didn't tell me.
Okay. And did you have occasion to talk to her?
I talked to her when I saw the article.
And how did you talk to her?
I called her in to see how she was doing.
And what was her demeanor like? What was her behavior like?
She was crying and...
Would this have been on November 16th or 17th? When would this have been?
I don't recall. All I remember, I was looking through my phone and I saw an article or something on the phone, and I have her number, so I called her.
Thank you, Mr. Head.
No questions. You can step back. Can this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Head, you're excused. You're released from the subpoena. And if we could please have the defense call such witness.
Next witness was Tiffany Kyler.
Tiffany Kyler. Right up here, ma'am. Go through that front gate. Make your way over there. Directly in front of the jury. You're the witness. And raise your right hand. And Ms. Mull.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
If you have a seat. Please state your name and spell it for the record.
My name is Tiffany Kyler. That's Tiffany Kyler.
And Ms. Kyler, What do you do for a living?
I work for Henry County Weekend Nutrition.
And where do you work? In what department?
At the Henry County Health Department, and I work for WIC.
For WIC. And tell us, what is WIC?
WIC is a program for women, infants, and children. We provide nutritional needs for low income, and we make sure they're eligible for the program.
And did you have occasion to meet Jennifer Rosenbaum?
I did one time.
And when was that?
I don't recall exactly, but it was in 2015.
It was in 2015. Would it help your recollection to take a look at a document?
Yes, possibly.
Ms. Conlon, would you take a look at that and see if that refreshes your recollection?
Yes, the date says October 22, 2015.
Is that when you first met Jennifer Rosenbaum?
It is.
Okay. Did you meet her foster daughters, Millie and Layla?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Can you tell us what were they like, those two girls?
They were really quiet, really well behaved.
And how were they reacting towards Jennifer Rosenbaum?
Normal. She held the younger child the whole time we was doing the intake, and the oldest child sat next to her. Nothing out of the normal.
Did you see any cuts and bruises or
I did not.
abrasions on either girl?
No, I didn't.
Did you see anything that would alarm you?
No.
As a child?
No.
Children? Thank you. Let me ask you another thing. Have you seen these girls before with another foster parent or with their biological mother?
I have not. No.
You have not. Okay, thank you.
Ross?
Good morning, Ms. Tyler.
Good morning.
We spoke briefly probably a couple of weeks ago, right?
Right.
And you told me then that you worked at WIC. So when you're at WIC, you have the parents fill out information in regards to the children's, I guess, nutrition and health and care.
Right.
And if I can find it. And you ask them certain questions and they answer it.
Right. General questions.
And the purpose is to find out about, I guess, where the children are eating, how they're eating, what they're eating.
Well, my process is the intake process, and our job is to get just the standard questions, their birth date, who's in the care, general questions like that before they go to the back. The nutritionist asks those questions.
And part of the questions that you ask, you inquire about daycare. Is that part of the questions?
Daycare?
Yeah, on the form that you guys have.
It may be on the form, but that's not a form we as customer service look at. So
it would be the nutrition and the parent that goes over that form. And
correct.
Okay. So you wouldn't have any knowledge as to what Ms. Rosenbaum indicated as far as daycare on the date that she went on October the 22nd.
I would not.
And you indicated that you saw her with the girls for a brief period of time?
Correct.
Were they clothed when you saw them?
They were.
As part of the WIC intake process, do you do a physical examination of the children?
We do not.
So you wouldn't have taken off their clothes to observe whether
I
or not...
would not.
So you don't know whether or not they had injuries on their backs, their hips, their groin, or any other parts of their body outside of their face?
Correct.
Were you able to see their arms at all, if you recall?
Arms, because she was holding the youngest child, so she was, in her lap in front of her, and I didn't see anything out of the ordinary.
Were you able to see the bottom half? Did they have on shorts?
I did not see the bottom half. It's like this lady sitting right here. This is all we see from here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can step down and make the excuse. Ms. Young, no objection to the excuse. All right.
Yeah, just to check these here.
Yes. Raise your right hand, please. Ms. Ball.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, dear, I do.
Okay, if you take a seat and state your name and give us the spelling.
Jennifer McDaniel, JENNIFER,
And what is your relationship to Joseph and Jennifer Rosenbaum?
I'm Joseph's sister.
And how do you know Jennifer?
We initially met in 2008. We worked together at Goodies.
And how soon after that did she get together with Joseph?
My 21st birthday, so less than a year.
And what do you do for her?
I'm a customer service agent for an aircraft distribution company.
Did you have occasion to ever meet Layla and Millie, Layla Daniel and Millie Place?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us about the first time you met them?
There were several occasions. I would visit over at their house several times, probably once every other week. We trick-or-treated their house for Halloween. The girls came and stayed with us for about a week. At the beginning of October, several occasions. November 11th, which is their anniversary, and Veterans Day, our family always goes out to eat together. I visited them on the 14th for Jen's birthday.
The 14th of
November.
Did you help Joseph watch the girls in September?
Yes, I did. Jen was at some kind of conference.
And now you say they came to stay at your house?
Yes, ma'am.
And when was that?
That was the first part of October. My dad got married, so they went to South Dakota for his wedding.
And the girls came to stay with you?
Yes.
Okay. Were you staying with your mother at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
And what role did you play in the care of the girls when they were living at your house?
I dressed them, bathed them, made sure they went potty, made sure they ate, just everything. We took them to Chuck E. Cheese.
Do you have children of your own?
I do.
How old are your children?
I have 2 biological children. One is 15 and one is 12. And then I have an adopted daughter who is 16.
So you know how to take care of children?
Yes, ma'am.
When you bathed Millie and Layla, did you see any bruises, cuts, or abrasions?
No, ma'am.
Did either girl ever complain of her arm hurting her?
No, not that I'm aware of.
And you saw them in October. You had them from what date again did you have them from?
I don't remember the exact dates. It was the first week of October. My stepdad's birthday is October 3rd, so I know that's when we went to Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay, so it's the first week of October.
Yes, ma'am.
And neither one of them did either of them favor their arms?
No.
Did either of them complain of hurting anywhere?
No, ma'am. As a matter of fact, Millie was brushing my hair and brushing my mom's hair, and Layla and I were rolling around on the floor in the living room playing with my other 2 children.
And did she appear to cringe or hurt in any way?
No.
When you were rolling around on the floor?
No, ma'am.
Why did the girls stay with you and not go to South Dakota? Do you know?
We found out that my dad was getting married in a casino bar type deal, and it's not appropriate, which is one of the reasons why I didn't go. I couldn't afford it, and my children.
When you went to Chuck E. Cheese, anything special happened then?
It was just my stepdad's birthday. We just went to Chuck E. Cheese and had a good time. We have... I'm sorry. There's a photo booth, and we had our pictures made on the little cards.
Did, before the South Dakota trip, were you exposed to the children before the South Dakota trip?
Yes, ma'am. I was in nursing school, so I wasn't able to attend their birthday parties, but I would often go over to my brother's house. We're a very close family.
And did you ever see anything untoward about the children?
No, ma'am.
Tell me about Halloween. Did you ever have occasion to see the girls undressed?
Yes, I helped Jen get them dressed in the living room for Halloween. I was the first one there, and my mom had my children. So we went ahead and prepared and got the girls ready so that we could get my kids ready when they got there.
Okay. And what did that entail, getting them ready?
Just changing Layla, making sure she was clean, and getting her costume on.
And that was October 30th, 31st?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not sure which trick-or-treating day it was that year, but yes, ma'am.
And that day, did you see when you saw the children unfold, did you see any marks, bruises, cuts, lesions of any sorts?
No, ma'am. I think that was when Layla had her cast on, and we had to, my husband actually drove a truck so that we could put her on and off the truck so we didn't have to carry her the whole way, and it was easier for her.
And so you didn't see anything on her body?
No, ma'am.
Tell me a bit about November 11th. What was that?
November 11th, and it is two things for our family. It's Veterans Day, and of course we have several veterans in our family. It's also their anniversary. So every year we always go out to dinner, and that year I got to pick, and I went to Olive Garden. And Layla she didn't feel good. She hardly ate. I tried to give her some of my soup, and she wouldn't eat it. All she wanted to do was lay on Jen and go to sleep.
And did she do that?
She did. Jen sat at the end of the table with her the whole time, and she slept most of it.
Did you see anything on her that day that caused you any alarm?
No, ma'am.
November 17th, did you go to the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
And tell me what you saw with regards to Jennifer and Joseph Rosenbaum.
When I got there, they were in a room. It was off to the side, and everybody was distraught, and I was trying to figure out what happened. And a detective and a coroner came in, and Jen was explaining what happened, that she had choked on a piece of chicken, and she had tried the Heimlich maneuver and tried to do a finger sweep, and tried to use a butter knife as a tongue depressor to try to make sure her airway was clear. And when the coroner walked in, he was really strange. He was like, "Oh, that Jennifer Rosenbaum." Like, he already knew who she was. And I mean, she was a public figure. So I just figured they knew each other, but the way he said it was really off to me. But it was a really hard night.
When you say they were distraught, how did that manifest itself?
Just crying and silence. My family is not one to be silent. We don't really just sit there. Everybody was silent.
And did Jennifer answer the questions that were asked of her?
Yes.
Did you ever see, during the course of time that you knew these girls, Millie and Layla, did you ever see them get hit, spanked, stomped, anything?
No, ma'am, not at all.
And ever see any belt used on them?
No, ma'am, not at all.
Ever see them being kneed or kicked in the stomach?
No, ma'am. Like, they don't spank. Like, they don't spank their dogs. They never spanked my children.
Were you ever in a car when the children fell asleep?
The only time we were in a car was Halloween, and then the girls were with me, but Jennifer and Joseph weren't present. They were in South Dakota.
So you never were with them when the girls fell asleep in their car?
No.
Did Jennifer send you pictures
Yes,
of
ma'am.
the girls?
All the time.
And when she sent you those pictures, did she ever send you pictures of the girls sleeping in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see any marks or bruising on the girls at that time?
No, ma'am.
Did there come a time when they were out in South Dakota where Millie or Layla had an accident on the potty?
Well, she had an accident in her pamper, her pull-up, and I asked Jen what to do, and she said to just sit her on the toilet for 5 to 10 minutes and let her use it there so she could relate the two.
And what else did she tell you about that?
Objection, Your Honor, please say.
Response?
It's the defendant, it's not person. But I'll move on. Have you allowed your children to go over to the Rosenbaums?
Objection, relevant.
No, it's relevant. In terms of whether she's got any concerns about these other girls, when she sends her children over there.
Council approach. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a 20-minute break at this time. We'll see you back here in 20 minutes. Thank you. And then you can step down.
Thank you.
We'll see you after the break. We're going to do some work out here, so they're either going to be in there or...
Yes, sir. They're all, the ones that staying are staying, and I'll keep the ones out.
Perfect, thank you. Okay. I think we need to do a little bit of follow-up on some of the issues we've been having, and so let's see if we have any additional argument that either side wants to make on whether or not this question is objectionable.
I understand what the court is saying. the extent it opens the door, I will ask the question.
As to that question, then it's being withdrawn, so there, we need not have further discussion as it relates to that particular question. But maybe, is there a need to more generally discuss this type of evidence?
Yes, Judge, I think there is.
All right, let's go ahead and hear that.
Judge, I think what the defense is attempting to do is a violation of both OCGA 244404A as well as 405. Essentially, they are trying to use specific acts to prove conformity therewith. It's a type of character evidence. They can try to classify it as fact evidence. But what they're trying to say is that I don't have a problem sending my kids over there, or my kids were never abused by Jennifer Rosenbaum. We heard some of that earlier today. There was never any problems with Jennifer Rosenbaum watching my kids. I point the court to Wade versus the state. That is at 305 Georgia Appeals 382. And I have a copy for the court. In there, and this was a child molestation type case, but the court specifically in footnote 3, and I guess there was a concern on appeals that the defendant in that case, his other children were not allowed to testify that he didn't abuse them, he didn't molest them. And the court specifically noted that testimony about no evidence of molestation of these children by the defendant would not have been admissible. They then cite that case. Excuse me?
I'm familiar with that case.
Yes. So I think this is essentially what this line of questioning when they specifically asked about did you have any problems with your kids going over there? Did they watch your kids? Did you have any concerns about watching your kids? It's essentially in violation of that.
Tell me, how was it presented in the case? There was an objection by the state to a question that was asked by the defense, and then the court did what?
So it was brought, in the context of this particular case, it was brought up as an ineffective assistance of counsel. So it was that their counsel did not present that type of evidence. So there was, the issue never came up, they kind of made a note of it, and then they cited back to Maine versus the state, which is the 181 Georgia Appeals, 856, which is a 1987 case. Of course, all these cases are prior to the new evidence code of 2013, which is now governed by 404 and 405.
But the point is that it's essentially irrelevant whether or not the witness is comfortable having Jennifer mind their children, for lack of a better way to put it.
It's relevant, and it's also it's a form of character evidence, because they're trying to say that they're trying to show specific acts, which is in violation of the code, to prove conformity therewith. And therefore, they didn't use my kids, so therefore they didn't use Lilo, and they didn't use
To the extent that we're talking about good character evidence, it's what we see generally speaking as admission of opinion or reputation testimony. And on cross-examination, we have specific instances of conduct which can be brought up by the state. And so, what exactly is this? Is this a specific instance of conduct? I guess the question is, what is this? And it appears to be Ms. Wall.
Steve, way back when, before we even put on our witnesses, when we had our initial witnesses, asked each of them and asked their own witnesses if they had seen this, would they have done something about it? If they had seen this injury, would they have done something about it? And I don't think it's any different, and while I'm in accord with the court, I won't ask the question anymore. I don't think it's any different than what the state did with regards to asking what they would do if these injuries came to them. And so saying that Jennifer, that people would allow their kids to be babysit by Jennifer even after the arrest is no different than that. But I don't think it's character, it's not opinion, it's not talking about her character, it's talking about the whether that witness would leave their kids with an abuser.
I think that if in fact Jennifer has babysat the children after the arrest, then of course that's evidence I think that can come out. It doesn't necessarily then, I think, open the door to sort of impeachment with all of the things that they don't know. So we're seeing slightly different versions of these types of questions. And so I think in the first scenario, where you're talking, would you be comfortable meeting the children? That's it. That, I think, is a form of character type of evidence that you're eliciting. And in the latter question, it's not. That's how I see it at present. And I know that this is more of a free-ranging discussion of the application of the rules to these types of scenarios. I just feel like it's important that we have it because we're continuing to have problems. I'm open to any other comments since we don't really have a specific objection about dealing with it. We're talking instead about the application of rules generally to the scenarios that have been presented. Is there anything else that either party wants to raise at this time? I want to give you the benefit of my thinking to the extent that there needed to be some correction of that thinking. I was open to it.
What I've asked these witnesses specifically is whether they left their kids with Jennifer. I haven't asked them would they leave their kids with Jennifer. It's did they leave their kids and were they comfortable doing so? So I just would note that difference.
Then the cross-examination would be that you don't really know anything about any aspect of this case during relevant time frames, as opposed to did you know that X happened? Did you know that Y happened? And if you did know that X and Y happened, would you still be comfortable? You see, I think there's a difference in how that's handled. I think that the former is okay, the latter is not.
And Judge, I guess I'm kind of back at the original, that I don't think the question itself under the Wade case, because it's essentially asking what they didn't abuse your kids. They put it in the context of the Wade case. You didn't molest the other kids.
So the point is that the question itself about whether or not the child stayed with them subsequent to the arrest is irrelevant.
I think so.
And that seems to be consistent with the Wade case. And so it's not really a character issue so much as it's a relevance issue.
And I think also, according to the Wade case, staying with them, Jennifer or Joseph watching their own children prior to the Blake's death would also be, I think that would also be relevant.
Well, let me take some time with that case. Why don't you review the case as well, Ms. Small, and we'll sort of come to an agreement as, if we can, about its application to whatever patterns of questions we see moving forward.
And just I had circled the one little footnote. I had circled the footnote on there. I just wanted to make that clear. That was the only thing I circled.
And we'll just, we're going to give them a little longer break. I'm going to spend some time with this case.
Thank you, Judge.